Sparta was militarily dominant but socially rigid. How did its strengths also create vulnerabilities? Okay, so first of all, where is Sparta? We've all heard of Sparta. Let's go to the map and discover Sparta, shall we? Let us go to the map and discover Sparta. So we are here in India. We go westwards, westwards, westwards. We reach the Mediterranean, and then we move further west of Crete. And here we shall find Sparta. So let's just search for it, Sparti, and zoom in. Here we are. So this is the old, the erstwhile Sparta. What's it look like? Well, so that's where Sparta is. And as you can see, how far is it from Athens? Let us see, measure distance. It's about 150 something kilometers from Athens as the crow flies. So that's where Sparta lies in present day Greece. Okay, now let's talk about Sparta. We're talking about classical Greece, which is about what? 600, 500 BC, around that time. 400, even 400 BC. That's classical Greece. So Sparta obviously was renowned for its militaristic culture. Very rigid, very harsh militaristic culture, extremely high standards. And the Spartans fought the Athenians. They fought Athens in the Peloponnesian War, and they defeated Athens. That war lasted decades, and they eventually defeated Athens. That led to the downfall of Athens. Eventually Sparta itself fell, eventually to the Romans. Now what's the deal with Sparta? It was militarily dominant. It was able to defeat Athens, so clearly it had tremendous advantages. Socially rigid, okay. So what's the deal with Sparta? So as you saw, Sparta was located on this massive peninsula, which was connected by this land bridge, you could say, to the region where Athens exists, right? What was Spartan society like? Right? That's the question we have to ask ourselves. How many Spartans were there? Spartan society was very strange. They were all soldiers. Their only profession was warfare. But how can a society only practice warfare? Who's going to plow the fields? Where's the food going to come from? Who's going to take care of the industries or whatever else? Who's going to build houses? If you are only soldiers, if your profession is only war fighting and sword fighting, who does all of that? Where does the food come from? Who does the fishing? Who does the farming? Who does the animal agriculture, animal husbandry? Where will you get the carpenters from? Where will you get people who make clothes? Where does all that come from is the question, right? Well, the fantastic thing is that the majority of Sparta's population was slaves. So if you had one warrior, you had 7 slaves for that one warrior. What were these slaves called? They were called helots. Helot. Helot. Plural is helots. So the helots were the majority of people of Sparta. Maybe they were an ethnicity, maybe they were a tribe, maybe they came from a place called Helos. We're not quite sure, but they were called the helots. And they were enslaved by the warrior caste of Sparta. And you know what was the manner of enslavement? Every helot was allocated a certain number of beatings per year. There was a quota given to every helot that you have to be beaten X number of times per year. And it would all be, the records would be kept. And if you were not beaten, let's say the quota was 20. So if the year is ending and like 7 days are left and he has been beaten only 10 times, then over the next 7 days, he would be beaten 10 more times. That's the kind of thing you had. And they would be humiliated by making them wear caps made of dog skin and whatnot. And their women, I have no idea what happened to the women and children, but yeah, it was a tremendously oppressive society. If you watch movies like 300, They portray the Spartans as this great heroic people. They were brutal oppressors. They enslaved their own people essentially. The Spartans. None of this will be taught to you in your history textbooks or by Hollywood movies, right? So for every warrior, you had 7 slaves minimum, men, women, children. What kind of society is this? So eventually, this is gonna create problems because you can't enslave people forever. Maybe you can, but eventually you can't. Yeah, so eventually, after certain battles and wars, uh, the Spartans defeated Athens. Then they fought the people of Thebes. Then their army got significantly decimated in the battle, in whatever battle ensued. And because of that, the number of Spartans dropped drastically, and eventually that led to their downfall. And eventually, it was subsumed by the Roman Empire. So the major problem was that Sparta was horribly oppressive. It enslaved huge numbers of people and maltreated them horribly. So that eventually led to the well deserved downfall of Sparta.